love you. I just took my dog for a walk. It's cold outside and my nipples are rock hard. And I'm the Green Traveler. I'm from the planet Gorsh. That's with an X.
Oh, Gorsh.
Gorsh. And I'm joined on the couch here with my co-host. You can introduce yourself, co-host.
I'm the Faceless Leon. I was, some would say, baked in a top secret lab. And I'm here on the couch with that guy that already introduced himself. Welcome. This is a podcast about movies and TV.
It is, indeed.
Yeah.
And today we're taking risks. First off, I'm sitting in a new room and in a rocking chair. So that's an audio risk right there. Right there,
it sure is.
And also we're covering movies that were picked by my mom, who grew me in a petri dish so long ago.
Yeah. Proud old. Well, maybe I shouldn't call your mom old. Sorry.
Ooh.
Yeah. But it's Delma Day, right?
Delma Day.
Delma Day. Happy Delma Day.
Yes. Happy birthday yesterday, Mother. This episode's coming out the day after. But I asked her for three of her, some of her favorite movies, and she didn't disappoint. And it's a risky. I said it was risky to make a Delma Day because there's a good chance I might end up pissing my mom off by bitching about some movies. But I'm gonna try to be. I'm gonna try to be on my best behavior.
He'll be on his best behavior, and I mean, your mom loves me, so I can't go wrong. I don't think. So what movies are we talking about? What are some of your mom's favorite movies?
There were plenty. She gave me plenty of options, but we narrowed it down to 3. And those 3 are Clint Eastwood's True Crime, It's Complicated with Meryl Streep and Alec Baldwin, and the classic Christmas movie Home Alone.
That's right, yeah. Some of you probably still feeling the Christmas season. I mean, it goes pretty long for some people, people with big families. I guess this year might not be, able to go home to be with them. I know that's kind of our situation. We'll end it up with a nice little Christmas bow with Home Alone.
Give me a second. Zelda's whining about something she can't get. Kidding me? That's it? Fucking dog. It was one piece of food that was under the bed.
Oh my god.
And she was whining about it. No, it's gone. Hey, I got it. I got it for you. Stop doing that.
There's more of that. I know there's more.
Risky episode, I'm telling you. We revealed government top secrets at the beginning.
We did, yeah.
Yeah, the world's not supposed to know that there's little green men walking amongst them, but none of you have noticed me until now. So
I mean, as far as I know, there's only one like me, but you're not supposed to know that either. So
well, there are some throughout history, though, right? Like when she said like Golem.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Maybe
I guess maybe I got some predecessors in the area of pre-designed peoples. I was pretty much an accident. I'm pretty sure. At least that's what I called him Papa. He told me that one day he just poured some chemical X. No, wait.
Wait, what?
Yeah, telling too much to my story. Yep, that's top secret.
Government's gonna be on our ass.
Well,
Papa.
True crime.
Yeah, true crime. Do you want to go into that, or shall I go into true crime?
I can do it.
Alrighty.
Yeah, sure. So, true crime. Clint Eastwood, the man with several lovers of inappropriate age, and I'm just kidding. But it is definitely a trope for him.
It's a very odd fetish that he definitely...
Yeah, I guess he probably... I think he did have quite a bit of control in this particular movie. I mean, he was the director too, right?
He did direct it. He didn't write it, though. That was other people's.
He probably had some lean for those casting decisions. But anyways, he plays a journalist who is a womanizer and a alcoholic, though he is a recovering alcoholic. He is trying not to drink, and he used to be a big deal in New York, and now he's at a new paper. I don't even remember where they are, but
no, I don't either. It's run by James Woods and Gwen Stacy's dad from the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movies.
That is true. It is.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's the only thing I remember about that paper.
Yeah. Bob Findley, Dennis Leary is who you're talking about, and Alan Mann is James Woods' character. But anyways, yeah, he works for them now, and he's been pissing them off, mostly because he's been sleeping with Bob's wife, and
which felt so weird.
Through some strange plot things, he ends up on a story where he's covering this death row inmate, Frank Lewis Beecham, who it's like his last day to live, and he's supposed to get his final words in print, whatever.
He's played by Isaiah Washington.
Yes, he's played by Isaiah Washington. Pretty good performance on his part, I'd say. But he's always claimed that he was innocent, Frank. And that's part of the story, too. I don't know how much to give away. It was a 99 movie, so...
Well, I think it's fair to say, because the whole plot, the inciting incident, which takes so fucking long to get to, is that Clint Eastwood suspects that this guy's telling the truth, that he is innocent.
Yeah.
And like the tagline is that he only has 12 hours to save this guy.
See, I didn't read like the old promo stuff, so I don't know what to spoil and what to not in these kind of movies, because it is pretty deep in the movie where he decides, oh shit, I better get trying to save this guy. Yeah,
way too deep.
It is also very much got a white savior feel to it, and that's not fun, really. But I feel like at the time, Clint Eastwood trying to be like
recapture that heroicness of his youth. Yeah.
I mean, like, I feel like back in the 90s, people were like really okay with that kind of storyline because it showed that people were willing to stand up for other people. Nowadays, it kind of leaves a bad taste in the mouth because you're not putting up any black heroes doing the same thing, Yeah,
it's very ham-fisted. Like,
yeah.
In my opinion, because we talked a little bit about how Clint Eastwood had so much command over the casting choices.
Sure.
I think he is horribly miscast in this film. Like, he should have chose somebody else who was, in my opinion, younger. Definitely. And like he could still be like a 40-year-old, 50-year-old grizzled journalist who's kind of grown out of the world, but like 70-year-old, sleeping with 20-year-old women, just it feels really weird.
It does feel really weird,
especially when it's like with Bob, like his coworker's wife. Like, I don't know, it's just like she's probably in her late 30s or something, but it's still huge age gap.
There is a huge age gap, and I'm not gonna really shame anyone who gets in a relationship with an older individual, because that happens, and they sometimes they really do love each other, so no shame, I feel like, on her end. But there is this one character who's only 23 years old that he's sleeping with too, or at least he was trying to, and he's
trying to sleep with everyone.
Yeah, he tries to sleep with everyone. He's not a good guy, which I think that kind of does just a little bit balance out the white savior thing, because he honestly doesn't care. Yeah, and he's not doing it because it's the right thing to do. That is not his motivation. His motivation is, this is a good story and I should write it. Yeah. Which kind of he's kind of a shit. So I don't know if that really does balance out the white savior thing, but it is an interesting facet of it. Like, he's not...
Yeah, especially at the end, like how he goes about trying to save him, like a lot of the laws that he breaks. He's speeding. Jesus. He's speeding drunkenly down the highway, and like,
Jesus, I thought he was gonna kill somebody.
Yeah, and it's like the purpose is good. You know, he has a good reason because they are literally at the last second.
Yeah, yeah.
But at the same time, you're just sitting there thinking, like, Jesus, like, you are, as you said, you're going to kill somebody.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
slow the fuck. Like, I mean, I don't know. His character is so hard to like for me.
Oh, definitely.
But his drive is a good thing. You know, it is a good aspect of the film. But there's so many just misfires for this film for me. And his casting is, like, the biggest one. Because it's like, if he had just remained behind the camera, you know, I think he's a decent director. If he had just remained behind the camera, this might have been a better film. But casting himself as the star, oof.
Yeah, I feel like it definitely, and you know, people might have reacted a lot differently to it back when it came out, but right now, 20 years later, it definitely just does not feel right.
I think it's coming off of like his Dirty Harry success, so like maybe people were, you know, still remembering that, you know, pleasantly.
Right. I don't know how long Dirty Harry ran.
Yeah, I don't either.
I know that there are several films. Anywho, I do think there's, like, you know, there's some decent aspects of this film. Like, there is, like you said, he's not a very likable character, but there is still some interesting character work. Like, the shit he does with his kid, like, he's a shit dad. He's a shit dad, but
awful.
Speed Zoo is something they do in the film where he, like, just pushes her. I'm sorry, Delma.
No, we're sorry, Mom. This one is gonna be this is the one that's treacherous for me. Like, you know, mom's gonna see this and be like, you know what, I might just turn it off right now if that's how they're gonna be.
Hey, listen though, you know, we got two other films, and I'll say up front, I did enjoy the other two films much more. And like, I didn't like hate watching this movie. I just have a lot of the problems I have with it. And you know, all in all, they save the guy, and I think the message of the movie, where, like, you know, you need to listen to people when they say they're innocent. You know, I feel like he was a victim of our justice system, Frank Lewis. Yes. And, you know, that is definitely a prevalent problem today. And so I think stories like this, it's not that we don't need stories like this, it's that I feel like we should be giving black characters that leading hero role. They, you know, I think that is how we should be in, because from this lens, it's definitely hey, we should be helping these poor black folk out who are down on their luck and stuff, but really what we need our media to do, I feel like, and you know, this is coming from a white guy, we need to see black characters picking themselves up and working out their problems. We just need black heroes, really.
And I agree with that. And to give this movie some credit, there was another film around this time that did basically the exact same storyline, with white men trying to help out an innocent black man who is imprisoned on death row. Right. And that movie's The Green Mile. But that movie succeeds because they don't save him. You know, but they prove his innocence within their group. They couldn't prove it to the wider public, right. But they solved the crime, and it's more about, you know, the emotional journey and the building of character for all the white men who are charged with guarding this black man who they find innocent. And that's very similar in this movie because the warden of the prison where Frank Lewis is kept, he's played by King Theoden of Rohan from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
But he even suspects that Frank Lewis is innocent. You know, he's spent so much time with the man, and so have all the other guards there, and you know, he's very kind.
They all get along with him.
Yeah, he's a kind Christian man who has, you know, he's a great father. You know, that's a good parallel, is how they show his fathering of his daughter with Clint Eastwood's fathering of his son.
Frank is such a better guy than Steve Everett.
Yeah, definitely. There's so many good bullet points on paper to this story. There's a lot of good. It's based off of a book, and I feel like that book might be very well done. Again, the issues is just how I think Clint Eastwood directed it, how he handled this film, and again, it could also be the script, but for me, it all felt like it came back to Clint Eastwood. Like my biggest issues with the story overall is they really underplayed the limited time aspect of it. Because you don't feel like there's a time crunch. You don't feel like you only have 12 hours, and it's like...
Right.
Some movies... you could just do what the 24 show did, where it's just like you show a ticking clock. It gives that presence of like, oh shit, we're running out of time. But in true crime, it's just occasionally mentioned. It's like, well, night's fallen. He's only got 12 hours. And it's just like...
Yeah.
Okay, like it's so slow paced. It's not a quick action pace, which is what you need on a time crunch. You need it to feel fast.
But it definitely isn't supposed to be an action movie until the very end, which I feel like that car scene was just added so that he can have a little bit of action in it.
Yeah.
God, he like at one point he says the foreshadowing to that scene is him saying, "I'm a great drunk driver" at one point. Oh my God. There's so many messages that Steve Everett puts forth that are just really shitty things. Like, like what I said earlier, he's a womanizer, and he definitely says some pretty gross things to some women he works with, and he smokes in the building even though he's not supposed to. Okay, I'm sorry. I think you were trying to get somewhere, and I
No, you're good. I agree with what you're saying, because that's another issue I have with the film is I don't know what they're trying to say in regards to PC culture. I
don't know,
because there is a strong PC message that could be grabbed from this movie,
right?
But the main character is a womanizing asshole who is most certainly not interested in PC politeness in any way.
No, he's not interested in the story from any angle other than that, hey, this is a true story, and if it gets done, I could get a Pulitzer.
Yeah. And it's just like, if you change, like, you can keep some of the harsh aspects of this character, keep his being a bad father as a parallel with Frank Lewis. That's good. That's really good.
Yeah.
But at the same time, try to make him a little more approachable, because, there could be, again, if they had just if they had just made this a black journalist who's trying to reclaim some of his former, glory as a, Pulitzer Prize or possible Pulitzer Prize winning journalist.
Right. I think that even would work still really well with him being the only really reason he's interested in it is for accolades.
Yeah.
Because it is definitely an interesting motive for doing the right thing. Because, I mean, honestly, like, it's like this guy's life.
Yeah. It's a very serious issue. And it's like, as you look deeper into it, you start thinking, this guy most likely is innocent. But that does make me remember that their one key contributing factor to like him being innocent was that the white guy who came into the store and said that he saw Frank Lewis had a gun. Well, how could he have seen him? There was a chip display between them.
Yeah.
How did Clint Eastwood know that chip display has been there for 6 years? Stores change design all the time.
He asked, actually.
Did he? Okay.
I think even, there might even have been like, I don't think there was video in the convenience store, because then they would have known.
Yeah, then it was him. Yeah, somebody running.
But when he was first in that store, the chip display actually wasn't there, and she said, the chip display used to be up here, and she was loading chips. I think that's what she said. She was loading chips when it happened.
Oh, okay. So they did explain it then.
They did explain that.
I just
but it still was really kind of silly. But that guy, I forget who that actor was. The guy you were talking about,
the witness.
Yeah, I think the character's name was Dale Porterhouse.
Oh, I think that sounds right. Yeah.
Trying to look at this guy. Yeah, played by Michael Jeter, who's in everything.
Oh.
But yeah, he definitely does not. He definitely seemed like he was in it for the attention. And he definitely did seem like he was maybe boasting his story a little bit.
Yeah, and that's another part of the story that I really, it's very. They focus on it pretty well, but at the same time, they don't focus on it as well as they should have, in my opinion. Was, he walks into the store, he sees a black man covered in blood, who subsequently runs out really fast.
Right.
And right. So, it is, he imagined the gun, the white man did.
Right.
And so, he embellished his story a little bit to make it, more exciting for the media. And so it's just like, I feel like there was so much more in that regard that they could have focused on, but they just kind of mention it, toss it aside, move on to the next aspect of the case. And I'm just like, there's so many missed opportunities, I feel like. So
what I'm about to talk about is definitely a spoilers. So I don't know if you want to put up a wall. You can decide that later. Anyhow, one thing I really didn't like, the whole last part of the movie I did not like. Yeah. Like him getting drunk and doing all that driving and stuff. But I really didn't like that the guy who did it was a young black man who was addicted to drugs. I thought that was a really shitty way to end it. Mm-hmm. There was definitely an angle where they could have fingered Dale Porterhouse, but really what I thought was going to happen was that Reverend, I thought he was going to be behind it for some reason, and there was going to be some kind of really big scandal that he uncovered. Because that Reverend was acting so strange. Reverend Schillerman, played by Michael McKean, also in everything. I really like Michael McKean. And I just feel like they did all these weird things with this character. Like he said that he's the one who said that Frank admitted to the crime. And he never did. He did not do that. Yeah. And so he was definitely a shit. So that's why I kept on feeling like it was going to turn out that he did the crime.
Yeah, if there was more of a mystery aspect to it, that definitely would have helped this movie.
That would have been... And I think that could have helped with the white savior feeling a little bit too. Yeah. Because then he's, just being a journalist and figuring out this. Yeah, there's just other aspects to it. Like
he's investigating.
He's investigating, yeah, and he is doing that in this movie, but
his version of investigating in this film is just shit. Like it's not great. It's
it's my nose. It's my nose.
Jesus, it's so stupid. If they had gone that more mystery investigative route, it's again going back to the fast, the slow paced feel of this film. If they had upped the pace, like it doesn't have to be an action film. You can have a detective mystery that is fast paced because of the mystery itself, And they just, I don't know, they missed the ball so much. But that part with the Reverend, I agree, because again, as you said, that's a good actor. He's they could have upped his character a lot more throughout the entire story, and they could have made him part of the past of the whole crime scene.
Yeah, because there is this one point even where Frank is like really getting angry at him because he's trying to get him to admit to the crime, and Frank gets really mad, and the guards come and take him out. And I thought, for some reason, there was a look in Frank's eyes that said to me as the audience member that guy was there.
Oh.
And Frank recognized him. So there was definitely all this set up to make this work, and maybe it was a red herring. Maybe that was what they were attempting to do. But
if they were attempting it failed on me because I didn't get that point of view.
Oh, well, then I was just looking too deep into it.
I think that's a better point of view.
Yeah, I think it could have been a much better story for sure.
Yeah. They had all the works there, and again, it's based off of a book, and Clint Eastwood didn't write it, so I can't blame him for those story aspects.
That's
but
true.
As a director, you could ask for a rewrite with some more mystery element to it. I also didn't like the editing at the end, especially the editing of Frank Lewis's wife, because there's like some slow motion aspects, I think, where she's running up to the glass and she's like,
oh really? Yeah.
I'm just like, it's so.
Oh yeah, right at the very end.
They're playing it up for like the emotional, like big emotional scene. It just does not feel that way at all because of how they edited it. And I also didn't like how they edited the real killer's mom when Clint Eastwood runs to get her to, come with him to give proof that Frank Lewis is innocent. Yeah, she's just immediately over the course of like half a day or so, she just immediately flip-flopped on being very adamant that her son wouldn't do such a thing to being like, you're right.
Right.
He did do it. I saw the necklace on the TV.
Yeah, it was definitely a very strange change, and it was just like what it really felt like was, yes, they had limited time. They were trying to do they were trying to finally make the time important at the end of the movie, and it felt that's what they were trying to do. But what it felt like was, okay, we got to wrap this thing up, and so that ending really did not land.
Do we have at all. Do we have any more? Or are we ready for closing statements on true crime?
I would say that we were ready for closing statements, except for I realized the little girl who played Kate Everett. That is played by Francesca Eastwood. Yeah. So
yeah, I think he only felt comfortable throwing his own daughter to the ground at the zoo. She'll forgive me.
I see. That's probably it. She'll forgive me. Yeah, that is what Everett is just hoping throughout the whole movie is that his kid will grow up and forgive him, and no, he doesn't. Though they do slow zoo, that not in the movie, but I assume that after everything was done, they did slow zoo.
I would hope so.
All right, so closing statements, you go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not a fan. I think the biggest misfire is Clint Eastwood's involvement overall. I think he could have been competent solely as the director. I think he might have been able to make this a competent film, speaking only because of Mystic River later on. That's a great crime film. But no, I couldn't. I was so irritated throughout this whole film. I give it 1.5 stars.
Yeah. I mean...
Sorry, Mom.
I mean, that's a pretty low rating. But it is not... Yeah, I don't think it's great. I mean, there's some fun, interesting things in it. So I can't give it no face. So it's got half a face though for me. I did not really enjoy it. There was some things that I really wanted to enjoy about it, but I just in the long run, after the end of it, I was not happy. So. That's that movie. Let's move on. Happy Delma Day!
Happy Delma Day! It gets better from here, Mom. I promise. Please keep listening.
It's complicated. Tell me, why is it so complicated?
It's complicated. First off, little fun story. This film came out in 2009, Christmas Day. I don't remember why my brother was not with us. But I rushed my parents out the door, not to see It's Complicated, but to see Sherlock Holmes, which also came out Christmas Day. And I was certain, when I rushed my parents out the door, that Sherlock Holmes was going to be sold out. And I was very, very adamant that we had to go see it. Uh-huh. And so we got there. I don't think it was Christmas Day that we went. Maybe it was like later on. I can't remember. I don't know why my brother wasn't there. That's the thing. I can't remember why he didn't tag along. But we got to the theater, and we're waiting in line, and we're about maybe 5th or 6th away from the cashier, when the manager comes out and yells really loudly, "Sherlock Holmes is sold out." And I was furious. I was like, I knew it. I was like mad because my dad had like gone to the bathroom or something, or like drove too slow to where the theater was. I was like, I knew it. We weren't gonna be able to see it. So we had to settle for It's Complicated. And I say settle. I settled. My parents were both very happy to see this film. And I remember my impression walking out of it was that I had a good time, but I didn't want my parents to know that I had had a good time. So I remember my mom was like, "You were laughing." And I was like, "Well, yeah, it was funny, but stupid."
Stupid movie, though, Mom.
But the reason It's Complicated, to go into it, it's written and directed by Nancy Meyers.
And that is why it is complicated.
Yes, that is why it is complicated. Well, she also wrote she also directed Parent Trap and What Women Want. So, cool. She's, very good at rom-com films. That's what it is. It's a rom-com film starring Meryl Streep, who was once married to Alec Baldwin. And Alec Baldwin and her, they split, and Alec Baldwin got himself a younger bride who was, model gorgeous, and Meryl Streep is struggling to, get back into the dating world, to, rebound, if you will.
Right.
And, her friends are, her inner circle of, 3 other women are telling her she just needs to get out there and, basically just, she needs to get laid. That was basically the main point. Was you need to relieve your stress and just get that out of the way, and then you'll be fine. So she goes back and she's kind of trying to get back into the dating world, but she gets sidetracked when her and Alec Baldwin just happen to be in the same. I think it was in the bar first, right? They were at a hotel. Oh, it was their son's graduation, I think.
That's right.
They're all booked at the same hotel. Alec Baldwin and his new family with his beautiful young wife and her son, which I don't think was his son. Also,
it was his son.
It was his son. Okay,
Pedro. They have the same last name, but that does not necessarily mean that it is his biological son. But I'm pretty sure that it's his child, because they've been together for 10 years.
Okay, that would make sense. Yeah, he's booked in the same hotel as Meryl Streep and her family. But Meryl Streep's kids, they went out and partied. And so she found herself at the bar. And along came Alec Baldwin also to the bar to escape his family. Alec Baldwin and Meryl Streep hook up, and it gets complicated.
That's how it gets complicated.
Because while she is, rediscovering her feelings for her ex-husband, at the same time as rediscovering why she hates her ex-husband, she also is falling for Steve Martin, who is building her, who is adding on to her house. He's an architect.
He plays Adam Schaefer. That name, that is such a real person name.
Yeah.
It's the most real person name. That's why it's forgettable, I think, which is kind of funny because she almost every time they have a date together, she totally forgets.
Even honestly, I forgot that Steve Martin was in this. It's not his most impressive role, and he's not like super great comedian throughout it. He has some great moments.
He has some great moments, yeah.
he is good. Like, everybody's good in this film. It's really well acted. But, I was talking to my dad. I told him secretly that we were doing an episode for Mom for her birthday.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, and I told Dad that we would watch It's Complicated, and he was just like, "Oh yeah, I love that." Alec Baldwin, Meryl Streep, and I was like, "Yeah," and Steve Martin's in it too, and like both of us were like, "Huh, he was in that movie." Like we had both completely forgot that he was in it. So like,
yeah,
forgettable name, not forgettable performance, but forgettable name, and the character himself, he just disappears into the background.
He just kind of, I feel like with the jokes in there, that's kind of intentional. Like, it's really not his story. It is Jane and Jack. I want to call him Jack because of 30 Rock, but Jane and Jake It's definitely their story.
Yeah.
And mostly Jane. Jane is the protagonist.
Yeah.
Which, you don't get that too much. And when we were growing up, they called, and probably before that, they called them chick flicks, but I think that should go to the wayside because it just makes it feel like as a male, you're not supposed to go and enjoy it for some reason.
Yeah.
And this is a perfectly enjoyable film.
And I do like rom-coms.
And rom-coms are great. Some of them are really well written, and other ones are just a little trashy, but they're still fun to watch.
Yeah, that's true. I will sit down with Notebook anytime.
Yeah.
Moving on from that.
See, that's what I'm saying. The stigma, man.
Shit, you're right. I should own up. I do like Notebook. It's a fun movie. And so it's complicated. It's very enjoyable. I mean, mainly because of, as you said, it's because of Meryl Streep and Alec Baldwin. They do such an amazing job. They have great chemistry. It's a tale you don't really hear about because it's about a divorced woman in her. Was she in her 40s in this movie or 50s?
She was, I think, in her 50s because there's at one point a joke. Like right after they have made love, that she asks him to turn around, and he's like, "I've seen it all before. We were married for such and such time," and she was like, "Okay, but that was a 40-year-old body, and gravity is not kind."
Yeah, I love that play on it.
50s.
Yeah, I love that play on their relationship too because again, a 50-year-old divorced couple kind of struggling through just connecting with other people now that the kids are off to some are graduated through college, one's married to John Krasinski. Your kids are good. So now what? She's a divorced woman. She wants to get back in the dating game. Steve Martin shows up. He makes her laugh. He's really an enjoyable person as she's getting to know him. But at the same time, she's back with her ex-husband. She's having an affair. As she puts it, she's never done anything wrong before, and now she's doing something wrong. Now she's that woman, and so it's exciting. She's exploring. She's having a good time, but at the same time, she's kind of just rediscovering that she doesn't want that. She doesn't want that relationship anymore. Yeah,
because he obviously, from the fact that he is having an affair, even if it is with his ex-wife, just shows that he does not respect the tenets of marriage. At least, from what we in our culture believe are the tenets of marriage. The basic ones being be faithful. He obviously, that was why they split up in the first place, and now he's doing it again, and she's the other woman.
He's also very vulgar.
Yeah, he is. There's a lot of reasons why they didn't work, and she kind of is rediscovering why they didn't work too. He thinks because they had this time apart that they have fixed themselves and that they can make it work now. But that is just not the case.
Yeah, he's just being greedy, selfish, and he doesn't realize he's being greedy, selfish either.
No. But he does. At the end, there is a nice resolution where he does.
I do like how it all settles at the end. It's a little tongue in cheek, and again, it's a little ham fisted with the kids at the end when they're explaining everything.
Right. Yeah.
But it's enjoyable, and Meryl Streep gives a very good monologue about what it's like to be a divorced mom.
Yeah,
living the life she's at, and it's a really good moment. There's so many funny comedic moments where she's realizing why am I doing this? The first time they have sex, her and Alec Baldwin, he puts his hand down at her private area and he's like, "Good to be home." And she's just
I forgot about that.
And she just groans and she's just like, "Why?" Oh God! It's just
why
it's a
am I
great
doing
moment.
this? Yeah, There's definitely a lot of moments that she has like that.
It just snowballs from there.
Lots of really good moments, and a lot of really fun moments with Steve Martin too. Like you said, there's less, but I honestly kind of fell in love with Adam a little bit watching the movie. He's a nice guy. Like,
he's a sweet guy.
Yeah, he got cheated on too, and his was a lot more recent than hers.
He's still recovering
for sure.
Well, I mean, like, I guess she is too technically, but he is. He's listening to tapes on how to
get over
not hate your ex-wife.
Yeah, lending more to it's complicated.
There is a fun scene where Meryl Streep and Steve Martin get high and go to a graduation party that they're hosting.
It's really
good. and there's a lot of good emotional heart at the end of that scene too with the trio, but just them being high and like acting like that was like, it was wonderful to watch. It had me laughing so much, and that's the best part about this film is it's really, the comedy is really well done. It's consistently funny.
It's and like you said just a moment ago, it has quite a bit of heart. Like, I was honestly really surprised by this movie. It was the first time I watched it. Like I said, there's stigma around this genre of film, and I did not watch it 10 years ago when it came out because I thought that people would make fun of me for going to the theater to do it.
Yeah, I certainly didn't tell anybody in my class that I watched it.
But, people should own up to their love of movies that make them feel good, because they make you feel good, damn it.
Here. There's nothing wrong with liking a rom-com. They're just as enjoyable as any other film.
For certain.
You can't fill your entire schedule with action films. Like, occasionally you got to throw something else in there that hits the other feels.
I definitely couldn't do that anyways. Just because action films really aren't my thing.
No, I mean, they're not technically my thing either, but there are so many people the people who will say that rom-coms are just for chicks. They're the ones who typically watch just action films.
That is true. Well, I mean, I feel like we haven't talked as long as we usually do about films for this guy, but I feel like we just kind of gushed over it, and I mean, I don't know what else to talk about.
Yeah, I can't think of any, there's not much specifically that I wanted to dive into. Let me real quick look over my notes. Yeah, I didn't really have anything else besides, there's occasional moments with the editing during conversation scenes where there's like way too many cuts between conversation scenes, but that's like a technical issue.
Yeah,
that's nothing. But I guess we're ready for closing statements. If
I guess so. Yeah. So like you said, this movie didn't win anything for its cinematography, but it's a good movie. Definitely a full-face movie for me. I don't know what else to say about it except for that I really enjoyed it. I was surprised. It is a rom-com. There's definitely a different tone in people's acting in rom-coms. That is one thing that is kind of, I think, keep people away from it. That is definitely in this movie, but it is subdued. Some people's performances really shine in this movie. So go watch it. That's what I'll say. Full face.
I agree. I give it 3 out of 4 stars. Very enjoyable comedy. A little predictable at times. Again, it's a rom-com. It follows the formula fairly to the nose. But a slightly different point of view for a rom-com. You don't see many divorced elderly. I shouldn't say elderly. I'm so sorry, Meryl Streep. You're amazing. Divorced 50-year-old ladies in a rom-com situation. Wholly enjoyable. Great, as you said, with great performances. I highly recommend it. Fun. I think it might be more fun for the Valentine season when that rolls around, but
sure.
This is one that again. We chose true crimes. That was a mistake. I'm sorry, Mom. We chose one of the other 5 that you gave me, but but the rest of them were top notch. I promise. This one's great.
All right, let's move on to Home Alone.
Home Alone. Yes.
I feel like this movie is so popular. I don't know that I necessarily have to synopsize that Kevin McAllister got left alone while his family went on Christmas vacation.
Right.
And then he gets burgled.
Yeah, I think
that is the plot.
That is the plot. You know it. It's directed by Chris Columbus, who did the first 2 Harry Potter films. This is before that fame, but
definitely way before that.
Super amazing directing from Chris Columbus. You can see everything that he's going to set up for the Harry Potter world here. It's written.
Yeah.
It's written by Chris Columbus and John Hughes. So,
wow.
It's got all the humor you need, like amazing delivery of humor.
Oh, yeah. And I don't know how Macaulay Culkin could... He's just so good at delivery.
Yeah.
I don't understand how a kid could be that good.
There's
definitely why he was the biggest child star when we were growing up.
Yeah. I mean, I think, and honestly, it plays to Chris Columbus. Again, with Harry Potter's 1 and 2, he proves that he's a good director of children. Like, he can work.
Yeah.
Because again, I don't never do I like knocking on child actors. If you get a bad performance from a child actor, it's not the child's fault; it's the director's fault. Because for every child, for every actor, there's got to be that one director who works out a great performance from them.
Yeah.
Anybody can act with the right director. I'm fairly positive that it's a very hard profession. I'm not going to deny that. There are some people who just really can't perform or act, but I'm not going to knock on a child for not being able to act. It's on the director to do it.
No.
And Chris Columbus
with you on that.
He does an amazing job here with all the kids.
He does. Yeah, that is true. There is a large cast of kids that don't matter for a good portion of the movie, but that is like the one problem I have with this movie is that they have this large cast of kids, and then by the end of the movie, they just don't matter.
Yeah, it definitely feels odd that that a lot of them aren't worried about the kid. It's like, oh, he's home, all right. But the mom's terrified. But the rest of the family's like, it's okay. He'll be fine.
Yeah, he'll be okay. It's just Kevin.
Yeah.
We forgot about him.
As Buzz said, we live on the most boring street. Like, nothing can happen.
Yeah. But they were wrong. Yeah, shit can happen.
Because the wet bandits come along, known as the sticky bandits in Home Alone 2, I believe. It's been a long time since I've seen Home Alone 2.
Yeah, it's still Harry and Marv in the second one, which is funny. But Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern, whose chemistry is amazing.
Oh, it's perfect.
I always thought they were the best childhood movie villains.
Yeah,
they really are. Pesci just has talent in general.
This was the first time I actually saw Joe Pesci in a film.
Oh yeah, me too, definitely.
It's kind of funny that I later on went back and watched Goodfellas, and I was like, this is the same guy.
Yeah, he does call them one of the premier cat burglars of their time, though.
They have a great plan.
They do, yeah. It's like, look, I got it all timed out, and he points at each of the houses, and the lights go on. He's like, they're all gone. It's a glory hole. Oh no, don't say that. We'll cut that out.
It's also a little weird that there's just a random cop standing in their home and none of them seem to care. Because at the beginning of the film,
that was so weird.
Yeah, at the beginning of the film, Joe Pesci he figures out what the whole street's doing by dressing up as a cop and going to each home and saying hey, your neighborhood's well protected. Are you guys going on a trip? And then everybody tells him, yeah, we're going on a trip. So he knows every single house to hit because everybody's supposed to be on vacation. And it's a good plan if Daniel Stern wouldn't just keep leaving all the faucets running as as his MO, as their calling card. As Joe Pesci says, you're a monster.
He does. You're a monster. And really though, he's just kind of an idiot. Marv is, and he feels like they they need this to up their status, and Harry's like, no, we just need to steal stuff. That's it. Just do the job.
Right, let's just make money. Let's get the job done. And he's like, no, we gotta have a calling card.
There is also this part where Marv is using his crowbar to like put these like fragile valuables into a bag, and he's breaking them all. And Joe Pesci's just shaking his head.
Oh, I love it.
There's some great stuff with them, for sure.
Yeah, they're like, in complete honesty, they would be the best aspect of this film if it weren't for the amazing traps in the third act. Because that's what makes this whole film, is the eventual, the climax, when the criminals and Kevin finally butt heads and go face to face. He is a very smart kid. All of his Rube Goldberg contraptions. Yeah. I mean, they're not as complicated as Rube Goldberg contraptions, but
but they're his homeland security, his home security system, and it's pretty great.
But it's also a little sad how some of this stuff like just goes perfectly to plan. Like when Daniel Sturb is walking he's climbing through the window and he steps on all the ornaments. Come on, man. You're barefoot. You're not going to look down and see what you're stepping on? Like, that's the first thing I would do.
Yeah, he definitely gets the butt end of all the punishments.
Oh, yeah. It's great.
And if Joe gets any, it's because Marv caused it to happen.
Or he sticks his head into a door and catches his hair on fire.
Right, yeah. Jeez.
Oh, it's beautiful. That like the whole traps, like all the setup, watching them all come to fruition with when the wet bandits trigger the traps. Like that's why you watch this film. It's so enjoyable to get there.
So well timed. It's a classic for a reason.
A great first act, great third act. Honestly, the only area where this movie in any way drags, and it's not at all a drag, is that second act where he's just he's having fun in the house. You're watching this kid just enjoy himself.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden he tries to become like a little adult because he realizes he has to actually try to take care of himself.
Yeah, he's out shopping.
Yeah, he goes out shopping. He's like, do you know if this toothbrush is recommended by the American Dental Association? Can you check? Great.
It.
It's really good. Macaulay Culkin's just especially in this era, everything he was in, he did an amazing job. He just really does he did have a lot of chops. I haven't really seen him in anything other than Red Letter Media.
Yeah, which he's absolutely enjoyable. Yeah, absolutely enjoyable there. But yeah, it's sad that he didn't do a lot outside of this, but at the same time, I respect his choices not to.
Right. Yeah.
But he has a podcast also. Like I've listened to a couple episodes, and it's he's just fun to listen to. But again,
he's
as a child,
interesting twisted sense of humor.
Yeah, he does. As a child, he was absolute gold. Perfect in this film. And even the side story, even with him and his older neighbor, who's struggling to reconnect with his son because they had an argument.
Right.
That side story, I guess there are people out there that could be a lagging point for, but
I like it.
Yeah, it sets up the ending. They work it in. They work it into the story so well, and it's great because he goes from being absolutely terrified because of rumors his older brothers tell him. Yeah. To basically helping this guy with his issues, with his own personal issues. Like it's lovely. Yeah. It's just it's a riot. It's an absolute fun film.
It is. And though since you brought him up, I do want to say I hate Buzz. I hate Buzz. What a dick.
He's the older brother.
Yeah. I mean, he does. I mean, props to Devin Rattray, or however you say his name, because he's not supposed to be a likable big brother.
Now,
but I guess there's.
I'm not gonna say you're not a likable big brother, but can you honestly say that you did not do almost every single thing that he did to Kevin in this film?
No, I did not. My
did
little
not.
brother did it to me.
Yep, there it is. It's always the younger brother's fault. Because it
is. In my case, it was.
And in Kevin's case, it also was, wouldn't you say? Because, like, at the end, when he comes back home and Buzz goes upstairs, he's like,
"Oh my
Kevin,
God,
what did you do to my room?" You know there's a moment.
Destroy all his shit.
You know there's a moment in your childhood where you yelled at for destroying your shit.
Oh no, I definitely beat the crap out of him growing up quite often.
I'll censor his name since I dropped it.
Yeah. No worries. Anyhow, he was my antagonist growing up. I love him. I mean, we were also best friends.
Yeah, I'm sure if
until like our teenage years, then we like really kind of hated each other. But now we're best friends again.
I'm sure it'd be the same with Kevin and Buzz. When they get older.
Oh sure.
Well, maybe not. They do have a massive fucking family, so
they have a big age gap too. But like, okay, so like this is something that I always missed as a kid. All those kids were their cousins. He has 2 siblings, I think.
Is that all?
It's Buzz and 1 sister. I think that's it. And the rest are his cousins.
Yeah, that is one of the negative aspects of this film too, is that I don't know. Like, I'm in the same boat. I thought they were all related, and that it was just Uncle Frank there. Sorry. I thought they were all not just related. I thought they were all siblings.
Siblings, yeah.
And that Uncle Frank was just there. But yeah, some of them are Uncle Frank's kids. And I didn't pick that up. I think
most of them, actually, yeah. But like apparently they were staying there. So because Frank had moved to France but wasn't quite set up to move them over there. And so they were living with Catherine O'Hara and John Hurd. Heard? Yeah. Sorry, John. Anyways. Peter and Kate, and they were living with them until they could move there over Christmas, is what it seemed like, or maybe they were just spending Christmas there. I don't know. Either way, those kids aren't in the end of the movie. They're not in the end of the movie.
I'm just as confused as you are about the family situation. I didn't even try. I didn't even try to like pick it up at, honestly. Like, I was trying to figure it out at the beginning, but I was like 5 minutes in, I'm like, you know what, I don't care who's who. I know it's just going to be Kevin soon. So
so one thing that kind of makes me mad now that I'm like looking at the cast list is that they build John Hurd before Catherine O'Hara, and she is definitely much more of a pivotal character. And the old man, Marley, the old man, is definitely much more pivotal character than the father. The father does basically nothing in this film.
Agreed wholeheartedly.
And he got a build before Catherine O'Hara. That kind of pisses me off. Like maybe she didn't have the name. Maybe she didn't have the name clout that she does today. But either way, that character, she is the adult main character besides the Roberts.
Again, this is what I know her from. Like, she has such an incredible filmography, but this is the movie that, this is what it is. I haven't watched it much outside of childhood. Honestly, this is the first time I've watched it in years. But as a child, we watched this at, I would say every Christmas my mom had this on.
Oh, definitely.
Every Christmas season, I should say.
Catherine O'Hara was our era's TV mom.
Yeah.
Most definitely. She's the mom in so many things. And she always was great. And I've been really enjoying her more recent stuff like Schitt's Creek. And I just have always had a lot of respect for her as an actor.
I still have to watch Schitt's Creek.
You'll enjoy it. I don't know if have you always been a Eugene Levy fan?
I do. So I do love me some Eugene Levy.
The whole cast in that is just great. Yeah, nice. I think you'll enjoy it.
I'll definitely have to watch it. Man, I feel like we're gonna have another two short reviews. That's how it is when we gush about a film. There's not much.
When we're really happy about a film, it's hard to keep on talking about it. I mean, we could talk about John Candy's interesting little role. Where
he's another one that I kind of forget that he's in it, but then like when you watch him, it's like because he is in the background when you first see him, and I'm just like, is that John Candy? And then he came up, and I'm like, oh, that's right, he is in this movie. It all came rushing back to me.
Gus Polinski, he helps Catherine O'Hara get back home to Kevin, and but the whole time he's like hitting on her too. It's like, she told you she's married, dude. She's just trying to get home to her kid. But like when I was a kid watching this movie, I was just like, good job, John Candy's character. Coming in and helping this lady get to her kid. Good job. But now that I watch it as an adult, I'm like, you sleazebag. Leave her alone.
It's like a John Hughes, it's like a nice John Hughes moment. You could see where his influence is on the script, and I feel like Gus was all John Hughes. Oh yeah. It definitely felt like the exact same character from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, honestly.
Yeah, it does. It does. Polka, polka, polka.
Oh God.
So I think you're right though. I think we talked about this movie, and also it's a movie that most people are familiar with too. So
yeah, I think when it comes to like films that you and I both love, it's like, even though I enjoy putting them into threesomes, we may someday just come back and do a deep dive where we just go into the movie, because I feel like that's where like we want to discuss like movies we really love, but in a threesome setting, right? We want you to go out. We want you to be able to see them if you haven't. I mean, obviously you've most likely seen Home Alone.
If you haven't, you're wrong.
Yeah.
Well, you know what though? It is definitely a Christmas movie. Mm-hmm. And I guess there are plenty of people who do not celebrate Christmas out there. So forgive me for assuming that you've seen this movie. But even if you haven't, because you don't celebrate Christmas, it is still a great movie, a lot of fun.
Yeah, irregardless of the holiday that it's centered around, it is just an enjoyable, fun riot of a movie.
Sure is.
It absolutely recommend you go out and pick it up on VHS and pop it into your VCR and have a good time.
Oh yeah, because you own it on VHS. Or somebody owns it on VHS.
It's the only way to watch it. You can't watch the digital remaster.
All right, so closing statements.
Obviously, highly recommend. 4 stars out of 4. There's not much to say against this film. It's absolutely enjoyable. Good message in regards to the elderly next door neighbor. A great view or focal point from a child's perspective, with great child acting, solid directing from Chris Columbus all around. Go out, watch this movie, enjoy yourself if you haven't seen it. Obviously, you have already seen it, so just go out and watch it again, or wait until next Christmas, because we kind of missed the boat on it.
Maybe a little bit, but really we're only a couple weeks out. A lot of people are still, like I said, celebrating right now. They might not be doing it in person with folks, but there's it's still the season for some people. And, hopefully next year we do get to be with those peoples for our holiday extravaganzas. But, closing statement, full-faced movie. I mean, I think that's pretty obvious from what we're saying. Yeah, I don't think I have anything else. It's good. Family favorite.
So are we ready to declare a winner for my mother's threesome?
For your mother's threesome. Delma's day is coming to a close, and yeah, I'm ready. I have chosen out of these 3 the winner.
Do you need a drum roll? I can try.
Sure, if you want to give me one. The winner of the Delma Day prize from Leon of The Faceless is It's Complicated with Meryl Streep and Alec Baldwin. I think I feel like Home Alone might be the more obvious choice, But I really enjoyed watching It's Complicated. Maybe just because I've seen it so many times, it's a little stale on me. Home Alone. Not, I shouldn't say it's stale because I still enjoyed watching it again.
Yeah.
But I think there was a lot of really good things in it. It's Complicated. It surprised me.
Nice.
That's my choice.
I like that. Mine is Home Alone. I do love It's Complicated. Highly recommend that one. But in regards to rom-coms, I've enjoyed other rom-coms more. But in regards to what Home Alone is, there's nothing like it.
That's fair.
It's absolutely enjoyable. It's got it's got a place in history. But there you have it, Mom. We separated on our films. We chose 2 of them as winners. I hope you're proud. And I'm sorry I shit all over Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, we sure did. He got a shovel full. Well, we love you, Delma. Happy Delma Day.
Yeah.
I've been the Faceless Leon.
And I am the Green Traveler, proud son, and love you, Mom. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. One last thing. Please go out there, subscribe, follow, do what you do, send us a review wherever you're listening. It really helps the show, and we love you.
Any constructive feedback.
Yeah, anything. Just let us know. Safe travels, everybody. Good night. Do you thirst for adventure? Do you search for laughter and friendship?
Ha 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 ha!
Then don't miss the adventures in Valagorn! Welcome to a new world of fantasy, fun, and action! Coming to you as a monthly serial starting on January 19th of 2021. And brought to you by the imaginative people of FictionWorks 19. Starring Greg Callahan as Raphael Anastas Magoo, Sarah Christ as Vashti Whisperwind, and Kenneth Glynn as Pai Sho Wukong. We'll see you in Valagorn. The Adventures in Valagorn. Hey there, couch potatoes. This is the Faceless Leon here. Tell you about our new addition to the show. We will be bringing to you 2 episodes a week, starting on Monday the 4th of January, 2021. I'll tell you, thank you for letting that year be over. We're going to bring in the new year nice and strong, 2 episodes a week. Do our regular thing Thursday. Nothing's changing there. But on Mondays, we are now going to be bringing to you playlists. We're going to start off with watching the Disney movies, the OG Disney movies from chronological order. We'll break it up there with some other things. Who knows what we might do. But we're looking at some long series of movies. Anyways, we hope that you, the listener, the potatoes at home, enjoy it. Safe travels. Green and Faceless on the Couch is a proud production of FictionWorks 19. If you liked the show, please leave a review, like, follow, or subscribe wherever you listen. This will help us grow our show. Be sure to visit us at facebook.com/greenandfaceless. There you'll find many links to our show and to our website. Thank you all very much for listening.